there's a crowd singing, I just like let them sing the part that I forget. Okay?
That is a really smart way.
Yeah, bro. And then I'm just like, abuse it.
The song Tadiera, was it influenced by your past breakups? So welcome everybody to the SJK podcast. Our guest is Wangden Sherpa today. He's a artist as well as a TikTok creator. Thank you, Wangden, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I would want to dive in straight to your childhood. Like, how did you start music as a child?
So music, say for me, ever since I was very young, I always enjoyed it. I used to take like guitar classes, and then for a few months I took vocal classes. Thought it was never something that I really was like, I'm gonna do this professionally, or like I'm gonna make my own songs and put it out there. It was just like when everyone's singing, when everyone's playing guitar, it's just fun. And I used to just learn songs and play them.
On your guitar classes, like अहिले त अब mom dad हरुले राख्दिन्छन्, त्यति बेला तपाईलाई mom dad हरुले राख्दै थियो कि was it like school मा सिकेको?
हाम्रो चाहिँ यस्तो थियो, हाम्रो स्कुलमा पनि every Tuesday and Thursday चाहिँ after school भनेर you could take different classes, okay? So that was one of the classes I took. And then out of school as well, my dad has always been like, he's really pushed us to like learn different instruments, do different sports, do all that stuff. And so he used to like take us for proper like guitar class भनेर he used to take us, okay?
Was this Nepal मा?
Yeah. यतै.
And this is, what was your first instrument?
Guitar होला, bro.
Guitar.
Yeah, actually no, my first instrument was keyboard. Yeah, before I played guitar, because I started playing guitar when I was like 11 or 12, होइन? But पहिला स्कुलमा हुँदा, and I used to take proper like keyboard like lessons नै के.
And when did you start writing your own songs?
That's kind of it's difficult because I used to write little like snippets every now and then, but not proper songs. Like I didn't have a song that I was like, oh, listen to the song that I wrote. I had like, you know, have you heard the Hijo Aja? Like, dude, say just that part, just the Hijo Aja part. I had that written 2015, but just that one part. And then it stayed on my phone for like 7 years until I developed it into a song. But first proper song I wrote was 2021, so like last year.
So त्यहीँबाट सुरु भयो?
Actually no, it was the end of 2020. So ठ्याक्क त्यो कोभिड ठ्याक्क हुने बेलामा.
अनि तपाईको अवस्था, a lot of musicians start off with covers. I think you started off with covers as well. And how important do you think is covers for a upcoming artist, like हुन्छ नि त्यो सिक्ने process?
So funny, yeah, the first cover I ever posted, I posted like 2011 मा के.
On YouTube?
Yeah, on YouTube. It's gone now. I like removed it. I was so young, okay? I think it's just for me it's like the first step in developing as an artist is for you to learn from other artists. And like when you like, I think I make a habit of doing that even now, is every time there's a song that I really like, I make a habit of like trying to learn that song, okay? Because when you learn the songs, when you learn the lyrics, when you learn how to play it, a little bit of that like stays with you, okay? And so the next time you write and the next time you play, like a little bit of that stays with you, okay? And that helps you develop as an artist. So I think it's not super important. I mean, I think everyone I know who's ever been, or everyone I know as an artist here, everyone at some point has done it.
And this is like, you have done, I mean, you said you have been doing this as a child, होइन? And त्यसपछि अब did you play यस्तो concertsहरू in school as well?
Yeah, bro. स्कुलमा त हुन्छ नि Teachers Day, Parents Day, like every time I had like a small band of me and my friends, okay? And then we would meet in like someone's house and then we would just practice, you know, the classic songs, okay? Like
if you don't mind asking, where did you study?
RBS.
Yeah, RBS ma.
RBS. So we had like Teachers Day, Parents Day, all that stuff we used to always play.
So were you like the famous kid who plays music?
No, not. I mean, like, I'm a school famous. I was the guy who everyone knew like sang. Like everyone knew like that was kind of my thing. It's just like playing guitar and singing.
And were you already to a point, man, like I'll be serious with music?
No, bro. I think in the back of my head, I was always like, I think I can do it. I had this like belief. I don't know where it came from. That like, it more like I have what it takes to succeed. तर त्यो गीत लेख्छु हुन्छ नि गीत लेखेर रेकर्ड गरेर म I'll put it out there for people to listen to भनेर चाहिँ कहिले पनि थिएन कि मेरो.
And what major did you do पछि गएर?
So I majored in computer science.
And this is like त्यो computer major गर्दा गर्दा like हुन्छ नि back of the head कहिले were you like shit I should have done music rather than computer science जस्तो?
Not really. I think for me the main catalyst of pursuing music a little bit more, not seriously, but a little bit more with passion, would be that like we saw, like everyone knows, the pandemic happened, and we were all at home, and I think I had just so much free time on my hands that I had no excuse. Like for every year before, I was like, oh, like I have assignments, I have like hang out with my friends, all this stuff happening. I don't have the time, or even just like pushing yourself to do that. But then when there's a pandemic and you can't go anywhere and you're at home the whole day, I was like, okay, I would say likhne pade. And then the main thing that like pushed me towards making music was that I saw myself so vividly. Okay? I saw myself like 50 years old and regretful. Okay? And looking back and being like, yeah, well, when I was 24, man, if I just put that song out, man, like what? I was like, "Law, bro, like F it, like let's try it. If I fail, if it's bad, then it's okay. But
yeah, because I did IB in Newlands, right? So when I was studying the courses, it was always like I should have done YouTube. Like the energy it was going through, like just starting and then doing assignments, right? So at the back of the head, it was like, shit, yeah, I should have done YouTube. Kinaki, like, this is not fulfilling enough just to so was that the same like fulfilling it so that music
for me it's fulfilling bandani. I just knew that it was something that interested me and it was something that I knew if I didn't pursue at least like pursue properly, I would always regret it. Okay, because you can find fulfillment from other stuff as well. I just didn't want the main reason that I didn't do music to be that I was like scared of people being like, hey, like people not enjoying my songs. And so I think that's the main reason that I was like, okay, like let's see where this goes type go.
And this is like our music nabhako belama were you already like I'll do a computer science degree and then पछि गएर I'll be this भनेर दिमागमा राखिसकेको थियो कि was it still like I don't know what I want to do?
I mean, I think this is where a lot of us, especially at our age, we're always like considering and reconsidering what exactly it is that we want to do.
True.
And I don't think I think some people are sure, but I think most people are still trying to figure out what they want, what they want to do. And I think I was at a point where I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I also knew that there would not be another time in my life where I could just take risks like this. Okay? There wouldn't be another time in my life where I could just be like, okay, let's do music for a year and a half, because after you're married and you have kids and all that stuff, that you kind of have a responsibility to just continue, like keep food on the table and stuff like that. That I was like, okay, I'll never be this young again, and I'll never have like ititore responsibilities on my shoulders ever again. So let's just go for
it. So you went to abroad to do your higher studies, I know. Teti bela nai did you start or Nepal aera gareko?
Like making music?
Yeah.
It was during lockdown last year.
So were you here?
Yeah, I was already there. I was there for some parts. I was there for some parts. I was here. So my album ko a few songs I wrote there, a few songs I wrote here.
And how was your experience त्यहाँको के भन्छ music making?
For me it was like a kid at like when you take a kid to like a park, like a amusement park.
Yeah.
I was like I came to this studio, I don't know anything about anything. Like they're teaching me everything on the fly. It's the first time I've ever properly recorded. They're like teaching me how far the mic should be, how I should be strumming, what stuff to avoid, what the different mics, like why we use different mics for different stuff. And so for me it was just like, I think we recorded the album over 3 weeks. And those 3 weeks were just like a whirlwind of just like every day we're trying something new. We're trying to like see how well we can take this like small idea that I have of a song and develop it into actual like something we can actually put out there for people to listen to.
अब सबै अब यहाँको मान्छेको कस्तो छ I think अब यहाँ when you want to go to a studio you probably have a song पहिलादेखि नै हैन I don't think people like त्यो सिकाउने process छ so like त्यो सिकाउने process like त्यहाँ थियो कि like यहाँ पनि नेपालमा छ do you think
Tuesday, I don't think it's like त्यहाँ versus यहाँको कुरा हैन Tuesday, I just think is that it was just the situation that I found myself in is that I was a young guy with a few songs and very little experience. And the team that I had, they were like two guys with a lot of experience. And so I think they saw the potential in what I had. And they were like, okay, like he has this, he doesn't have that, but we can like provide that to him. And so I think utai eta vandani, it's just like if you're new and you want to learn and there are people like willing to teach, I think anywhere in the world that's like the best formula. Okay?
Yeah, so like the first instinct was you're like on goyo on studio bhitar chiro like when you had songs.
I was in touch with one of my producers before we went to the studio and we worked on a song that I had and he was like, okay, like I think this has the potential to be something special, like we should do it properly at a studio because we were just recording in his house, like he had a good mic and stuff. And he was like, okay bro, like let's just go for it, let's just record an album. And so I think when that happened is when I properly was like, okay, it's an album, I have to have songs. So that's when I started like properly like songwriting, composing, figuring out how to take just words and like phrases here and there and really like mold them into a song.
Yeah, because a lot of people struggle with, I think, finding the right people to mentor them. Okay, how did you find like people to mentor you?
I was so lucky, bro. It was just like I had a mutual friend, like a friend who introduced me to the guys that I worked with. Okay, and they just knew each other from like they'd worked before, and he was a family friend, and this was my friend as well. And he was just like, oh, like Wang, I know you make music, or I know you're interested in music. I have a friend who's like a professional musician. Like, I think you guys should meet. And then we just met and we just like I think our goals, or not necessarily goals, but just like our vibes kind of aligned in the sense that like we understood like that a partnership would be good for the both of us in the sense that like, I think he understood that I was so raw. Like I was so raw. I didn't have that and he saw that he could really like help polish my music and my songs, and so I think that's why we both like gravitated towards each other.
I think one of the key things is you're like putting yourself out there, and I think if you didn't do that, like I don't think you would meet those people. So do you think like you need to put yourself out there for these opportunities to get
100%, bro. I think that's like my motto right now is I think about that often. Like you said, Neil, you were like, I wish I'd done like YouTube earlier. Mero YouTube bandani, I was like, I just wish that, I think a lot of us go through this where we're afraid of being judged. We're afraid of being like, this guy tries too hard, or this guy's always doing this, or this guy's doing, like, I never wanted to. When I was like younger, I was very paralyzed by the fear of being judged or being perceived as a try-hard. And which is why like I didn't take that step forward and put out more songs on YouTube, or like sing more on YouTube. I think like Tuebela already I had one cover that was like 3,000, 4,000 views, and I was like, wow, this is so cool, and it got such positive reception. Okay, I think if I'd really like built on that, it could have been something else. But then again, I didn't want to be that guy who's like posting on YouTube being like, oh, listen to me types. Okay, and I was so like scared of being judged in that way. But now to my number one piece of advice is just like go for it. Okay, the worst you can do is fail, and then that's it. But just like go for it.
I see these videos of, I think you have also seen all that, the love work, or like how they create that song. Okay? It's so interesting that they just have the keyboard and then they just have a laptop and they start producing. So what does your music production or writing songs process look like?
So usually it's me and a guitar and my phone, and then usually I write everything on like a laptop. So I have like Google Docs or something open, and then every time I'll just be like I'll just like play something, and then I'll try to come up with the like words that go with it. So I'll just like be playing around on the guitar, and then if I found, oh wait, this chord progression sounds kind of cool, and then I'll be like, okay, and then I'll put my phone, and then I start recording, and then I just like say whatever comes to my mind. And then you just keep doing that until you see, okay, wait, that kind of sounded good. And then you're like, okay, wait, let's take that little snippet, develop it a little bit more, and then try to develop a song from there. So every song that I write usually starts off with just me and a guitar and my phone. And then from then on, we just like keep figuring out what's good and what's bad and then just trying to develop it further and further.
How good are you with your softwares? Like,
I'm not very good, bro. Like I started learning literally like 2020 was when I first ever started music production. And the songs that I do, like they're very not like digital one, like every instrument on my songs is an actual instrument. And so when it's different. I don't know, it's difficult because I think the music that I listen to is a lot more like R&B, where you use your DAW and digital audio. And so the DAW, they use it so much more. But for some reason, the music like that I end up creating is so much more just like guitar, me, bass, drums. That's it. Or just like other instruments that I don't really need like the program that much. But honestly, if like this is not really a message, but this is to everyone out there, is like if you're stopping yourself from creating music or creating anything by being like, hey, mosong the software is yet, or mosong the equipment is like there's a lot of hits made just from a phone, like from free software, just using a phone as a mic. Like I think it's more about the music and the lyrics than it is about the equipment you use and the software you use.
So do you think like I think you have seen Charlie Puth's like एउटा के साउन्डलाई पनि just translates it something to a song, हैन? त्यो knowledge भयो भने do you think it's a asset to your music production?
Take one, like एकछिन break लिऊँ है म. Break one, I'm just going to take a sip.
So, sure. त्यो खादै भन्दै गर्दा हुन्छ.
So here's the thing. I think if you can do that, it's an asset because then you make more interesting music. But if you're limiting yourself from creating in the first place because you're like, oh, like I'll only make music when I know how to do that, like you're never going to start. Because you see that, oh yeah, he's like sampling this, but that comes from like years and years of just messing around, just seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And so that works for him, but there's been so many songs that just one person and a guitar where you don't need all these fancy like software, and you don't need all the different keyboards he's using. Like it's just a person and a phone. True. And I think like that just like I think reinforces the point that at the end of the day, all we care about is the music. Eh? Like we care about the words, and we care about like how it sounds.
How equipment geek are you yourself?
Zero. For me, I think the most important thing is melody, and then the second most important thing is the words, and like equipment, software, all that stuff comes way later. Okay.
I mean, like, help me understand this, because like I had Vision Dai in here, and he said like label भन्ने कुरा नेपालमा छँदै छैन. Like, so can you explain me a little bit about these labels, how it works, and नेपालमा के situation छ त्यसको बारेमा?
So honestly, I don't think I'm the right guy to tell you, because I'm also very new to the music scene here, and my situation is so different from what most artists here go through. And so I don't really think I'm the like proper person to answer.
तपाईको चाहिँ कसरी, like what do you do? तपाईको हिसाबमा चाहिँ like
so I work with a label in the States, and they help me produce my music, and in return for that, like there's a cut that they take, and there's a cut that I receive. But like that's like any other partnership anywhere, is that when two people are working together, both get paid. And so the music that I make with their help, like they obviously have a certain percentage that they take, and the music that, and then so, but like when I perform here and stuff, like they have no say in that.
Like,
but how it works here with like the other artist agencies here, so I have no idea. Okay? Like what their arrangement is, I have no idea.
Because from what I think heard is label भन्ने कुरा नै छैन अरे नेपालमा, like the rights and stuff छ नि बाहिर जस्तो नेपालमा त्यस्तो छैन अरे के मैले सुने अनुसार चाहिँ. But like yeah, like are they like copyright देखि सबै उनीहरूले नै हेर्दिन तपाईको?
So like my team there handles everything. Oh, sorry. The team there handles everything from like putting it on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, and like, they handle the whole business side. Okay? So all I do is write, and then I record, and then I sing, and then everything else they take care of.
And then like how early did you like start your album, like recording your album? Because I think beats like you already have your songs recorded, and then you convert it into music videos, right?
Yeah, so I had I had like 4 or 5 songs written way before we ever even thought about recording an album, okay? In like 2020, 2021, I had a few songs written, like all that stuff was written before we ever decided to make an album. But then when I went to the studio and we recorded the stuff, and then we were like, okay, we're gonna make this into a proper album. And then that was June of 2021. And then we recorded the album. It was mixed, mastered. I had the final like mastered copy November. And then from then on, we released the whole album on Spotify. And then we're dropping it on YouTube slowly, okay? Because mainly my thing was like, no one knows who I am. I don't have the following where I can just drop a whole album and people will like listen to all of it or give all of it a chance. And I never wanted one song to like impede on the other song's performance, okay? So if I drop 10 songs as they compete for each other's playtime neither. But if I drop a song today and then I drop a song 3 months from now and then 3 months from then each song gets its own like space to breathe and develop and see what happens with there or from there. And so I have 9 songs on my album. I think I've put out 4 on YouTube right now. We have another on the way, probably December. And then from then on, I think I'm not going to do any music videos for the rest of them. I think I'm just going to drop them like lyric videos or just official audio.
I think that's a really smart way to do it, because like a lot of people and artists I see and YouTube ma हेर्छु अनि सरर राखिरा हुन्छ कि एउटै album एकैचोटि राखिदिन्छ, and then I don't think they market it real well, हैन, and it just stays there, okay?
I think it's like it depends on who you are, okay? Because if you're a very established artist with a huge fan base, no matter what you put out there, people will people will listen. But for me, at that point, I had no songs out. Like no one knew who I was. Like no one really even knew that I made music, and so I knew that I had to let every song kind of start off, or like every song that I dropped next would not benefit, but every song that I dropped next would be helped by the song that came before it, okay? So if I drop like a song Aza, if that song does well, when I drop my next one, I have an even bigger audience, and I have even more people who are engaged and are interested in me as an artist. And so every song that I drop next and next and next has a higher chance of success. And so that's all that I wanted to do, was just like give my songs a chance to be heard, because that's why we do this.
Do you like strategize like more aesthetic gorsu bhaner? Do you already have that in mind, or like पछि गएर like it just happened?
I try. I mean, I think for me, I think if you are making music at the level that I am, which is like you're barely starting, you either have to be really, really, really good, or you have to be strategic about how you go about things. And I don't think I'm really, really, really good. So I think I have to compensate for that by like pushing my songs on TikTok or like stuff like that, where I'm like using other avenues to make people like listen to my songs. So I think if you're not strategic, if you're just making music and putting it out there, I think you're doing yourself a big disservice.
And like how many concerts have you like played in?
Concerts,
big events.
Big events, I think I've done like 2 or 3, like proper big events with like a huge crowd. That I've been doing a bunch of gigs every now and then. I've stopped for now. I'm taking a break from gigs for now. I've played at since April was my first gig. I think since April I played like 15, 20 different times. Yeah, so I played a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, which is why I'm taking a break now. I think I need to cool off for a bit.
When was the point where you realized that you were famous?
Famous, I think actually, because every now and then people ask me for like a picture, or I see people point. The Mahotsav Tuni, the
Daraz one.
Daraz Mahotsav Mase. I think it was just like it was free. You had like Samir, Sushant, like Swapna Suman, everyone playing. So it was like all the kids. And my like the people who like to listen to my music and watch my TikToks are like kids, just people aged like maybe like 15 to like my age. And so there was just like thousands of them. And so like every time I walked, I was like, oh, Wangden Dai. And I was like, damn, like that's the first time I ever felt like, wow, people really know me and people really like.
And then
cool.
Were you like nervous before like doing those concerts?
I don't like I think only time I've ever been nervous performing was when I was performing in front of like 12 people. And that was because I was not prepared for it. Okay? So I was just at this like event somewhere and Dai was like, and I was like, off terror, no one. No? I just went and I took the artist's guitar and because I wasn't prepared at all. But for Mahotsav and stuff, though, like I practiced so much. Like we put in the work and I'm like pumping myself up before I go on stage. So by the time I reach on stage, and I don't know, I've been very fortunate that like people are so nice to me. Okay? So I think if I went on stage and everyone was like, "Oh, you suck, boo," I'd be very frazzled. That every time I go on stage, people are so lovely, and so it always just like feeds into my confidence. Okay? Where I feel more and more like, let's do it.
The reason that I asked that question was like, everybody was there, and this you just took out your phone and started making a TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay? And I was like, how do you have the confidence? Because I think showtime sabaiको हुन्छ हैन.
Yeah.
And then त्यो गर्नलाई अलिकति confidence नै चाहिन्छ कि.
Music is about it, bro. They told me that I would start at like 3:15. No, they told me that I would start at 3:45, and at 3 o'clock they called me and said you're gonna go on at 3:15. So I had to run back to Brikuri Mandap, and my band was also. They told it 3:45, so we're gonna prep for 3:45. So we're all somewhere else. And then I called my band. I was like, "Yo, you guys need to get your ASAP." And so they're on their way as well. There's traffic outside. Stuck outside. And so we were like stuck in this like limbo where it's our time to perform, but half my band isn't here. And so I was like, I have to stall somehow. All right, I'll make a TikTok.
And then like त्यो पहिलादेखि pre-planned थियो कि before stage मा जाँदाखेरि was it like stage मा idea आयो okay now I'm gonna make a TikTok?
Oh, it was just on stage. I was like, oh, I have to entertain these people somehow. I know what the people want, right? Like they want to be seen on a TikTok that goes viral type. And so I was like, no, but it's fun. But also I think for me is like I am so comfortable when I'm around people that I know support me. Whereas like I knew it would be okay if I made a TikTok. Like I knew that it would like be received well, okay? Like where no one would be like, oh, like you know.
And like त्यति बेला कस्तो सिचुएसन थियो like मान्छेहरु आउनु बाँकी थियो and then त्यो हुँदाखेरि तपाईले TikTok बनायो?
No, bro, it was full. It was like full.
As in like band members.
Yeah, the band members were balla. There was like one person who was balla coming. There was like we still had to like set up this pachi. So there was like some like 5 minutes, like 10 minutes where I kind of have to stall a little bit. Actually, I was considering doing the first half of the set just with me, okay? Without the band, because I was like, the band's not going to get here on time. Like it's not fair on them as well. So I'll just do the first 5 songs or first 3-4 songs myself, and then we'll do with the rest of the band. The Taka band came on time, and then I had that moment where I made the TikTok.
किनकि त्यति बेला कस्तो गाह्रो हुन्छ भने like I also have like if you feeling पनि आएको like technical difficulties हुन्छ and a lot of people are already there हैन अनि you don't know what to do के like त्यो situation मा तपाईं त्यस्तै थियो कि was it like?
Yeah, for sure, bro. I was like के गर्ने होला. I think in that moment it's like, right, people just don't want to be bored, okay? If you're talking, if you're entertaining them in any way, they're not like, oh, we came here for music. Like if they're laughing, if they're being entertained, if there's a guy on stage who's like interacting with them, I think they're like, yeah, that's fine if I wait 5-10 minutes. But if it's 10 minutes of an empty stage, you have no idea what's happening. That's when people start to get a little antsy, get a little bit annoyed. That I was on stage, I was like interacting with them, I was making jokes. I knew that like I was buying myself enough time for my band to come and do their thing.
And then did you also interact with other musicians? Yeah.
So I interacted with, I mean, yeah, like I know I don't know all of them. We're in the same. So what's funny is that Sushant and I actually went to high school together. We're in the same year in high school. So I know him from before everything. And then Samir, we met for like, we were doing ads for the Mahotsav thing. And so we'd met at like I think it was like their office. So we'd met there. And then Swapna, I haven't really had a good conversation with, but like, we say hi and stuff. And then the rest of the artists say I knew from before. So I'm not really like close with any of them, but like I say hi, hello and stuff.
Yeah. And then like when you start doing music and when you post these songs, do you have anything in mind? Like I want my songs to be esto genre ma bhanera.
I don't have anything like that. I just want my songs to be good. I just want my songs to be heard, and I just want my songs to affect people in a positive way. Where if they're sad, if it makes them sad, if it makes them happy, if it makes them like whatever, but I want them to be like touched emotionally by it. Okay, so when people hear my songs, like I don't want them to be like, yeah, it's okay. Like I just want them to be like, oh, this is fun, or this is like really sad, or this is like really like sweet. But like I just want my songs to elicit some form of like reaction in them. Okay.
What genre would your music be classified into?
It's so varied, bro. Especially my album. There's like lo-fi stuff. There's pop rock. There's like, I would just say like maybe like pop rock is what the majority of the album sounds like.
And I think a lot of musicians hit this roadblock, where like, do I want to put out songs in English or in Nepali? Did you have that?
Not really, but I think I have that. It's not a roadblock. It's just like a decision you make. And for me, it's like, right, like my end goal is not, oh, I want to write songs in English or I want songs right. It's like, I want to write songs. And so whatever language people prefer to listen to, that's where I'm going to write the songs. And so I think that's where you're headed as well. It's like, Nepalima git lekhyo bhane it does a lot better. And so I think that's kind of where I'm headed right now, is that I just want to write a little bit more.
Yeah, and then Tadiera, like your first song was Tadiera, right? And then that compared to your English song, I think kamai thyo haina. So what at that point were you like, I'll probably stick to Nepali bhanera?
Mero yesto, I didn't think I would probably stick to Nepali. I think it's just like I'm probably gonna write more songs now in Nepali than I probably will in English. I think if I still have a song that means a lot to me and it's a very good song that I'm like, oh, this is a good song, I think I'll still write in English. But I think I'll focus my efforts more towards writing.
I think I also looked at your TikTok page, and I think you transitioned into a bit Nepali. Paila चाहिँ I think it was English a lot, and then you switched to Nepali, and then त्यहाँ गएर चाहिँ you were like traction body आउन थाल्यो.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, this is where we are. And सबले बोल्ने त त्यही हो. And so yeah, it just makes sense that I think I just was like, okay, like if this helps reach more people, then this is what I'll do.
And then like your songs, right? How do you choose the right words for your song? Was it like gig mai bazaera like oh shit, your word ma raksu bhanera ke? Is it like what's the process?
That's such a good question, bro, because it's so varied. Like there are some songs that I write in like 1 hour and the song is done from start to finish. And there are some songs where I will obsess over the same word for months. Like there'll be songs where like I'll be like, oh, this like, because I'm very particular. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a very good songwriter, but I think I'm very particular about the way it flows. Okay? So I don't like when artists just like fit a word in there. Just like they like scrunch the word up and they just like fit it in there. And so I like it when every like syllable makes sense in the context of the song as a whole. Okay? And so there are times where I'm like, oh, this like, if I just put this word there, it's done. But I want to change it until it sounds perfect.
And for you, does the music come first, or does the music come first, or does the lyrics come first?
They both come like at the same time.
Same time.
Yeah.
And then कहिले काहीँ त्यो roadblock हुन्छ where like you have the lawyer, हैन, तर त्यो word चाहिँ right moment मा आएर आउँदैन.
Yeah. I think for both happens where I'm like, oh, I have these lyrics, yeah, but I don't have the proper like melody for it. Like I have this like little verse that I've written, okay, and it's been there for 2 years now, and I just haven't found the right like melody for it, okay, because I think it's such a sweet verse that when I actually sing it, I want it to be the perfect like accompanying melody, okay, that I just don't have that yet. So it's so much easier when I get both at the same time, okay, which is why I work the way I work, is that like I'll be playing guitar, I'll be singing, and so the words they come at the same time as a melody, and so it makes a lot more sense to me.
And then I've seen musicians, they have this specific dedicated time for their lyrics of the Unique Poet, for example, and he has this he has this time, and he just writes songs, and then to a process, and he gives himself the time. Do you also have this dedicated time like each day, or is it like you didn't malai song lekhna malai and ma त्यो दिन लेखे?
I wish I had more of like a proper like routine where I wrote songs. Every day go 8 बजे I write songs. So music के हो भने if I have free time and I'm in the mood, आज चाहिँ गीत लेख्छु. Or like I'm just, what usually happens is that I'm in a गीत लेख्छु mood. Okay? I'll just have my guitar, I'll just be playing around, even if I'm like watching Netflix or something, watching YouTube. If I'm just playing around and I strike a chord that I'm like, oh, this could be something. And then I just immediately go into the mood where I'm like, okay, I need to write this song. And I need to develop as much as I can as a. And so that's usually how it happens, is that I'll just be like playing around, and then it's just like I just like snap right into a mood where I'm like, okay, now we're going into it.
And then like for example, how do you guys like, do musicians know that, oh shit, your part say it might go viral?
I don't know about viral. It's so funny we're
as
talking
in
about
like
music with viral.
Viral now, like maybe catchy.
Yeah. I think for me, I think when I wrote Music Coach, like the part, I didn't know it would do as well. But when I heard it in the studio for the first time, I knew it was going to do well. Like when I heard it in the studio for the first ever, I was like, when I heard it played back with like the keyboard, like with, it's not keyboard, it's a piano, with the piano and the strings and the guitar. And when you know the part where it goes like, dum, that I remember hearing it in the studio, and then I was like, okay, this is probably going to do well.
And then musicians do this thing where like your song viral गयो भने they'll take that element हैन, take chord progression अथवा त्यो and make it into a new like song के. And does that तपाईलाई पनि, do you think you'll do that?
I think it happens unintentionally, bro. I'm not advanced enough to be coming up with all these cool chord progressions. Like all I know is basic, and so I think that happens quite often even without me trying. But I think I try my best to come up with like interesting things every time.
And I think तपाईले भने जस्तै you don't really have to have this expert level of हुन्छ नि.
Yeah, bro. I think for the longest time that was a big blocker for me. Is I was like, oh, I love Frank Ocean. I'm only gonna put out a song when it sounds like something Frank Ocean would put out. Or I was like, oh, I love like John Mayer. I'm only gonna put out a song when I write something as good as like Edge of Desire. But like, you're never gonna get there if you don't write it in the first place. Like if you don't put out like, I don't want to say the word shit, but you have to take it all out of you, okay, before you can get to the gems, okay? Because you're never going to develop. Okay, so that fear of when you're like, oh, I'll only do this thing when I'm really good at it, you're never going to get good at it. So you kind of have to say like, F it, like I'm just going to try my best, and that's how you develop.
And I think I saw this your Daiko TikTok, and he was talking about how it's really hard, and then you probably have to think a lot when you go into this music field, okay? किनकि कतिजनाको मान्छेको चल्दैन, and then you really have to think about how you make and how do you market your songs, right? So a lot of teens are watching right now, and then do you like, what advice would you give them?
I think the main advice I would give is make good music, but more importantly, be very purposeful in every decision that you make. So for example, like be very like strategic about how you release it. Be very strategic about like if you're making a lyric video, because if you just put out a song with like, there's nothing new to it, there's nothing to grab people's attention, there's nothing where people are like, oh, like listen to this song, man. Like no matter, like everyone puts out good songs every single day, okay? But a lot of them don't work because you have to find a way to grab people's attentions, okay? And that's like the sad truth of it, is that like just making good music is not enough anymore. You have to find a way to like set yourself apart, because there are so many songs that other people have written that are much better than songs I've written, but haven't got the same like level of, not fame, but just like
traction.
Yeah, traction. And that's because like I was very, very purposeful of like the whole reason I made TikTok in the first place was to push my songs. Like before I ever recorded a song, when I made TikTok, I said one day it's ek din na ek din ta I'll put out एउटा गीत होला. And when I put out that song, I just want to be recognizable enough where people are like, hey, yo मान्छेले गीत निकाल्यो, let's play, let's like let's play it. And then so I was like, I think I can make good enough music where if they hit play, they'll be like, okay, this is not bad. But I just wanted that first level of just like, hey, yo मान्छेले गीत निकाल्यो, let's play it. And so I think you have to be very, very purposeful.
So while you're involved with other stuff, right, do you kind of fear that you will lose that like music gonna be or like you won't be able to give time to music? Does that fear occur to you?
Not really. I think it's more just like I haven't fully committed to anything in my life, right? And that's kind of how I like it. It's just being able to do whatever I want, I know. So if one day I'm like I'm done playing music, like I'll just do this TikTok thing full time, or I'll just make TikToks and do ads and stuff. I think I'll be happy with it. But like I think for me, I think if you make good enough anything, if you make good enough content, if you make good enough music, if you make good enough, like whatever you do, if you're good enough at it, no matter how much of a break you take, when you come back, people will always be there to like watch it or listen to it. Like, for example, like Frank Ocean, right? Like he comes and he drops an album every 5 years, but every time he drops an album, everyone's watching. The whole world's waiting for it. And that's because he makes such good songs versus like someone who maybe doesn't put in as much effort or isn't as good. So when they leave and they come back, it's like, oh, well, it's gone. So I think like I'm not overly confident, but I think I put enough effort into my content, my music, where when I come back, if I take a break, there's at least a small group of people who are willing to like listen to us, like, and watch it. So that's what I'm banking on, Firi.
Because like I want to give an example, and my friend, he is very whitewash. He's like, I'm just gonna make songs in English because it's like I fear that a lot of people won't listen to it. And I'm like, bro, like Nepal man, there's audience, and maybe you start off with doing it in Nepal and then you expand. So
मलाई चाहिँ यस्तो हो अब for me it's like I'm not married to a language, I'm not very married to this genre. I just do whatever I think. Like I'm very focused on the end result. Okay? I'm very focused on putting out something that people will listen to, that people will enjoy. Like I live for when people are like, Dai, your song helped me so much, or like, Dai, I really like that song, man. Like that's all I want. And so if I write in English, if I write in Nepali, French, whatever, like that doesn't matter to me. I don't care if I wrote like a ballad or a rock song or whatever. Like as long as people are enjoying my music, that's all I care about. And so, but then that's me, yeah. But if your friend is more like, I'm gonna write in English, like that's where I write the best, that's what I want to do. But that's his prerogative or her prerogative or their prerogative or whatever.
And then like about music production you make like music the thing that comes in my mind is like money investment. And how much have you invested in like music making music videos is not cheap,
it's not cheap at all.
So your first experience like making a music video?
I think it was, I didn't realize how much work goes into making a music video. Even the most simple music videos have so much work behind them. Like Miro Hijo Aja भन्ने गीतमा, like I don't know how, but like we had a huge team. Not huge, but we had like a big team, and we were working from like बिहान 5 बजेदेखि बेलुका 12 बजेसम्म for 2 days, and we still didn't finish the shoot on time, and we had to extend the shoot because we were running around all around Kathmandu, all these people, and I never even considered like every scene that you see is shot like at least 4 or 5 times, right? Between takes, there's like someone coming to adjust your makeup. There's a different level. If you stand there, the light hits you perfectly, right? But if you do a take where you walk just like 2 inches forward and the light doesn't hit your face just as good, the person's gonna be like, oh, we need to redo that. Or if there's like, you're outside, the sun is perfect, you do your take, there's something wrong. Now there's clouds. Now you gotta wait for the clouds to go. There's just like so many things you have to think about. It's just so hectic.
How did you do the car scene? Because like this much traffic a bit I think it was Jomsikil.
It was so hectic, bro. It was so hectic.
And then I think you had Shania, Didi, and Elena.
So that was not in Jomsikil. So Shania, Elena, and Parakram, we were in New Road. In Jomsikil, we had Eva Giri, and then Sid, who was also known as Nepal.food. And so we had those two for Jomsikil. And I think the scene with Parakraman also was easier because we were like driving around. So we were just in the car. The one with Eva and all the bro, we were like, we had to park outside Jomsikil ko batoma. We had to shoot the scene. I'm lip syncing. It was just like so much work. And we had like people like, oh, but it's a busy road, Nia, but there's people coming. Those people don't care about my shoot. And so they're running around. I have a team. They're like, okay, please roadnose ekchin. They shoot by us ekchin roadnose. And we're like shooting. So we were like every few minutes, we're like, okay, that's one take. And now we have to let all these people go. and they're going. Okay, now let's please like stop them for 2 more seconds and let's do another take.
Does the anxiety level go up? Like, oh shit, sabai त्यहाँ छ and I have to make that perfect lip sync.
Yeah, bro, I was like so stressed out, especially because also like I'm taking these people's time, Nita. And so like Sid and Eva didn't like sign up for just like being in traffic for like 2-3 hours and suddenly not doing anything. Like they're very like everyone in my music video, bro, the sweetest people. And so like Sid actually was like, bro, like chill down, like relax. No matter how long it takes, we're good with it. Like we're here for you. So just like relax, we'll get the shot. And that helped calm me down so much because I was like, yeah, I'm taking their time, but we have to do it quickly. We have to get it out of the way. And then so he was like, okay, bro, we'll just get it. So relax.
किनकि अब like उनीहरुको पनि टाइम दिनु पर्यो, उनीहरुलाई पनि बोलाउनु पर्यो, त्यो नि त म्यानेज गर्न.
Exactly. Yeah, but they've taken time out of their day. They're both very busy people. They've taken time out of their day. They've come for my shoot. And I just didn't want it to be a situation where they walk from it. They're like, I shouldn't have done that. Like that was a waste of my time, or that was like too much. But yeah, it was very intense. It was very like rewarding as well to see the end product.
And then do you like the music video ko concept? Do you write it yourself or do you get help?
Music video go say the very basic concept say I had. And then with my team, say they helped really develop it into the proper like storyline. Like they did like 80 or 99, most of the work they did. But I had the very, very basic concept of like, I wake up late for a date, she's upset with me, and I'm trying to puck out her. So that's all I had. And then they developed into like, you run around, yeah, but there, you're in a car, you're in a scooter, all that stuff. So like my team helped develop.
And then like, त्यो गर्दै गयो नि त, बनाउँदै गयो भने the more longer it gets, the higher it's costing you.
Yeah.
त्यो कतिको factoring भयो पछि?
I think what I knew was that if I wanted to do it, I wanted to do it right. And if you want to do it right, it's difficult to do it for cheap. And so I think going in, I already knew that it was not going to be like super cheap.
Vision Dai said, त्यो एक दिनको shootलाई he spent around 30,000. Like that's a lot. How much did you spend for that music video?
I'd rather not say, bro.
Hey, yeah. Dude, is it like a high number?
Off camera भन्छु नि त.
Hey, sure.
It's not a high camera. Like for normal music, it didn't go way above budget or anything. Okay? I think like with Vision, I think he has a team and he's much more like not like he just does things at a lower scale. I'm not saying that's worse. I'm just saying that like he achieves, and honestly I think like I need to learn from him a little bit because I think what he achieves with like what he has is amazing. Okay? So like his music video and I think like and mine I think are very comparable. Okay, but I think the cost was way different because he was just he was more like strategic, right? Like he just like decided on a more interesting concept that wasn't as like hectic, that didn't require as many moving parts, that didn't require as much stuff, and so he was able to achieve like the same thing but probably for a lot cheaper than I was able to do it.
And so you already have that budget until त्यसमै meet भयो?
It probably went a little bit over budget because I'm a day extend boy. Again, the reason my music video was so hectic was because we had so many locations. So if you watch the video, you'll see like every scene is in a different location. And so if you think about it, right, a different location means all the crew has to move to that location. All these lights have to move. Right? Everything has to move. They have to be taken down and re-put up, right? And then we have to relight the whole thing because the way you light this room right here is very different than you would light a different room. And so all that needs to happen again. And so every location we go to is like 4 or 5 hours. And then we had this thing where like the lead, a female lead, she was wearing like nails, okay? But every time we had to switch outfits, she had to switch nails. And that took an hour every time. And we didn't account for that. And so we had to switch from one outfit back to that one, okay? So we spent just 3 hours just waiting for her nails to be done. And small stuff like that, just like when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, bro, we were so like, could have been avoided. How would we have known?
But last month it was worth it.
Yeah, 100%. It was 100% worth it. Like I think like I'm so proud of what we did, Hunzani, like especially in the scale that we did it, like with the VFX, with all these influencers. We had like 12 or 13 influencers in this one video, and the way we achieved it, I mean, it's so well shot. Like my team was just so good. Okay,
I
like
think the scene interesting to where like you had yourself the laptop.
yeah, exactly, a small
yeah
miniature. Like we have VFX in this, Hunzani. And honestly speaking, for my first ever music video, I think I went a little bit overboard and saying all these influencers, VFX, CFX. So at the end of the day, like I'm really proud of what we achieved, and it was a very like the whole like it was a very interesting thing that I did. So
but I think I think it definitely was interesting because like, oh shit, I know Shania, I know these influencers.
Exactly.
Okay, I see that in your music video and I'm excited myself.
Exactly.
They got it. I think पछि गएर it's more interesting. So नि तपाईले भने जस्तै I think overboard होइन, it was more interesting elements to your music video भनौँ न. So while writing your songs होइन, how much does your raw emotion be put into your songs? किनकि I think a lot of people that I've seen interviews कोही कोहीले के गर्दा रहेछ भने they create their situation on their दिमागमै situation create गर्छ अनि त्यो situation लिएर चाहिँ music बनाउँछ. What's your like तपाईले के गर्नुहुन्छ?
I think it depends on the song. I think if I'm writing a song where I'm pulling from my own experience, then it becomes very emotional. I draw from past experiences, past emotions, how I felt and stuff. But oftentimes, so what I do is I put myself in the character that I'm making in the song. I put myself in their shoes, okay? And then I imagine the world from their eyes. And then I imagine about what they must be going through, what emotions they must be feeling, what difficulties, what happiness, like what all that I try to imagine, like what they would be going through. And then I write based on that.
And did the song Tadiera was it influenced by your past breakups?
Not really. So that song is a little bit about me because in some of my past relationships, I was like long distance for a while. But it was mainly say, I thought about, so a lot of my friends say like someone went in, like if they're dating, one person say went abroad or to different countries. And so for years and years, they were long distance. Okay? But I was so inspired and moved by that belief that they had. Okay? That like, we're apart right now. We'll be back together. And when we're back together, it's for life. So I was so moved by that like emotion and that belief that I was like, okay, I'm going to put myself in their shoes, but not just their shoes. I think it's the story of everyone in any like third world countries. Someone in your family has to go, or like someone in your extended family, your friends, everyone at some point, like we all know someone abroad, eh? We all have a family member. We all have a friend who we dearly love who's not with us right now, and like physically. And so I think I wrote that song because it's the truth for all of us. It's the truth for all of us. And so I really wanted to develop on that and take that forward. Doesn't mean I forget my lyrics often, gay. So when there's a crowd singing, I just like let them sing the part that I forget, gay.
That is a really smart way.
Yeah, bro. And then I'm just like,
yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
So wanted to shift to content creation. When did you start content creation?
1 second. It was during lockdown. I think 2020 was when I made my first ever TikTok. And then from then on, I just started creating content.
And where like the content creation, I'll post, I'll promote my songs, but was that in your back of the mind?
That was from the beginning. When I first made my TikTok, is because I knew एक दिन त मैले एउटा गीत त निकाल्छु त्यो निकाल्ने बेला चाहिँ I just want some form of recognition where people listen to my music. And so from the very beginning, my goal was from TikTok was to just get my face out there enough where if people see me, they'll be like, okay, let's listen.
This strategy, was it like influenced by others or like you were already aware of what you want to do?
I think I saw how TikTok was taking people with no following and overnight giving them a huge following. And I never had aspirations of, I'm going to get millions or whatever. But I just wanted to like, if even like 100 people more know my face and will click play, that's enough for me. Okay? So in my wildest dreams, I didn't think I would be here with like people recognizing me on the street being like, hey, Dai from TikTok. Like I never ever thought that would happen. Okay? So that was never the goal, and it still isn't, but it was always just to create a platform for me to promote my music.
I think like when I talk to my friends and then when they see you, the first thing that comes in their mind is like, oh, the guy from TikTok.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, do you think this form of content creation for musicians is underrated?
I think it works for me because I don't see myself as just a musician or just a content creator. I think they're just different aspects of what I do. I think I get fulfillment from both of them. But I mean, I really enjoy making music. And so that definitely fulfills me more. That I don't limit myself just to music or just to content creation. Like, I'm never going to be like, oh, I don't make TikToks anymore, like that stuff. Like I'll always have that aspect of my life as well. And I think if you're an up and coming musician and you're not pushing yourself on TikTok, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Okay? Even if it's just uploading you singing your songs, even if it's just like uploading little, like, I don't know, if you like go about your day, just take 5 videos and then in the background put your song and just put it on TikTok. It doesn't have to be like me where I was like pushing everywhere and sending everything. I was like, but like there are ways for you to push your songs. And yeah, I think if you're up and coming, then it's like a must have.
I think Charlie Puth is like a great example of him doing this, because now I feel involved of when he's making music, and then it's everywhere, and he has this smart element where while creating his song he adds his viewers to that song. I think that is a very good way of promoting their music. And then like I want to talk about like since you were doing this content creation, like you also started doing skits, right? When was the point where you were like doing skits?
Actually, when I first started creating content, it was just me singing. It was me doing like
Covers.
covers. And then I remember so distinctly, I had this like really dumb video, that was just like for fun. And when I posted it, my sister was like, my older sister, she was like, this isn't what you should be doing. Just like only put like covers. This is so dumb. And then that video hit like 20,000. And I was like, bro, like this is clearly is working, right? Clearly there's something here. And yeah, and then after that happened, I was just like, okay, I'll just do whatever I want. If I think of something funny, if I think of something like, oh, this could be good, I'll just do it. And then in the side, I'll always be posting singing and stuff.
So like the back of the head, was it like music got as a stay? Do you like write down your content ideas? And
yeah, bro, all the time. I think that's one of the things that people on TikTok, when you watch a TikTok, it seems so easy. You're like, I could have done this, but you don't see like a lot of them take a lot of time and effort. And right, like every TikTok I make is like there's a script that's already pre-written, and I already think about what angles I'm going to shoot these from, and I'm already thinking about, okay, what clothes am I going to wear, what are my facial expressions going to be like. So it seems very dumb when it's just a TikTok, but I think people do put a lot of effort into it. So I think yeah, it's definitely a lot more difficult than it seems.
Mic
अलिकति Is it fine now?
अलि मिलाइदियो. I think it's अलिकति यहाँ sound अलिकति कम आइरहेको छ.
You're the ton bro. Yeah, is it better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like talking about content creation, right? How much are you involved in like going live and all other stuff?
Live, I don't go that often. I think I'm just so not busy, but I think I just haven't made it a huge part of my journey on TikTok, and so I don't really. Last time I went live was probably months ago. Like I don't go live that often.
What's your thoughts about like people going live on TikTok?
I mean, I think if it works for you, it works for you. I have no.
Is it like fun you watching other people's live? Do you have that time?
I don't really watch people's lives. I don't really go live. Like that's not really how I consume content, and so that's not really something that speaks to me that much. That if you do it, well, do what you want.
Yeah, and then is TikTok and YouTube your primary source of putting out content? Like
yeah, and then on Instagram I post pictures of my life. That I think TikTok is primarily where I post content, and then YouTube is primarily I just put only music.
And then like there's a kind of like a war, I'd say war would be a really dramatic way to put it, but there's this argument between TikTokers and YouTube. Like where do you put yourself in that situation?
I don't really care.
Like you don't care at all.
Call me what you want, bro. I don't care. I think people care about that too much, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like no matter what medium you're using, you're still doing the same exact thing, and so I think people care too much. I think just do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter.
And I think TikTok has given you a lot of opportunities to communicate with a lot of influencers. You have a lot of influencer friends, and you have done a lot of TikToks with your influencer friends. How did that came about?
I think it depends. I think sometimes I just meet them like when I'm out. I'll just like, oh my god, bro, like I know you, and they're like, oh yeah, I know you as well. And then if we like share a good vibe, then I'll be like, yo, let's make content. But sometimes it's people that I knew pehle dekhi, like, you know, like Mr. Pivash Sunny, usi mero school dekheko bhai ho ke. And so when he started making content as well, I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense for us to collaborate. Like, it's of course we're gonna do it.
And then the vote, I'd say vote team,
Yeah.
How did that came into place?
So you would say we work with this nonprofit, and their primary goal is to promote voting here, and so I think their primary thing is like voter education. So, and it's like embarrassing to say, but they're all the stuff that I preach. Like, I didn't know before I started working with them. Like how your vote becomes invalid, by when you have to vote, all that stuff. Like, I think you and I, when we were growing up, it doesn't really, like, we don't think about that too often.
True.
Okay. Whereas it's such an important part of our everyday life. Like every day, the people who you voted for, they affect your life. Be it the road that's not being built, or just like stuff like that. Like every day, the decisions, or like the fact that you didn't vote, it really affects your life every day. And so so they brought us all together. They taught us like push this message, push that message, and so that's how we started to work together.
Do you think that that circle made you a bit more creative in your style of making content creation?
100%. I think the best thing, if you're a content creator, the best thing you can do is like work with other people. One of the best things, because then your audience and their audience, they both, I'll be like, if I work with someone else, their audience gets to know me as well, and my audience gets to know them, and creatively, you guys like start to develop ideas that you would have never had alone. And so it's better for the content. It's better for you as a creator. And so, yeah, if you have any opportunities, to everyone out there, if you have an opportunity of collaborating, be it for content, be it for music, be it for whatever, I feel like you should just go for it.
I think it was very interesting. Like, I thought, I think it was a normal TikTok, right? But at the end of the clip, it was like, vote for this.
Yeah,
and then,
bro, we think so hard on how to do that, because we realize that like after a certain point, everyone's kind of like not tired, but everyone's kind of like, okay, we get it. Like, you want us to vote, we get it. So we all the time have to think of new ways to like trick you into thinking it's a different kind of a video, and then at the end we're like, okay, this is the thing that we're trying to promote.
So do you guys have like a team, and then you work together, and then like सँगै बसेर content?
Yeah, I mean, I think so the team, like, we just like brainstorm together, and then obviously there's like people who my content aligns with more, and then so I gravitate more towards working with them, and there's other people whose content makes more sense for them to collaborate, and so like they gravitate towards each other. And so we're just, I mean, we have a common goal, and then it's all of us just trying to like make sense of that and try to get to that goal.
When talking about like the future of Nepal, a lot of teenagers still struggle to like go into politics, because they see politics as this dirty game, right? And I think you guys have this really creative way of showing that it's not this at all, and then I think you boss a lot of good candidates, and young candidates are actually joining the whole team, right? So do you see a good future for Nepal?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I think we're headed in a direction where people are being pushed to be more purposeful with their actions. Okay, people like me as well, right? I think I don't think you have to be very like, oh, I'm going to join politics, but I think at the bare minimum, you should be, okay, there's this candidate that I like who represents the values that I stand for as well. I'm going to vote for that person. Whether they win or not is a separate question, but I think as like people who can vote, I think it is our right and our duty to vote, okay? So that the direction that we want this country to go towards becomes a little bit more attainable, okay? Because when we're just complaining, like nothing's gonna happen, okay? But maybe if we make a little bit more effort, and this is me and you and everyone included, maybe things will get better.
I think, yeah, because like our audience is very young, right? Teenagers, and then they see TikTok as a fun tool, right?
Yeah.
And that fun tool, when we implement like your kind of content for voting, I think it kind of gravitates them to vote more, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think for me as well, like when I see people use their platform to bring about change, it always like inspires me as well. Like, oh yeah, like I have a platform that I've built. Like I want to use that for good as well. And so I want to influence people in the right way. I want to push people towards doing the right things. And so, yeah, I think I'm inspired by it, and hopefully the people who watch my content are also inspired by it.
How up to date are you with the current political situation of Nepal?
Pretty up to date.
Do you think that after like working with these people, do you think you're more aware about the situation in Nepal?
I think I've always been aware of the political situation. I think after working with my team, I've just become a lot more aware about the electoral process. So that much, like that specific areas, I've learned a lot more. But I've always been interested in politics.
I think you did a mock khalko TikTok video where they vote dine. What was that? Like,
oh yeah, so basically, like if you're a first time voter, a lot of the time you're scared about like I don't know what to do when I'm there, like and there aren't a lot of resources for you to be like, oh, this is what you do. So we did a mock poll, a mock election where we basically showed you what it's like to go vote. Okay, so you show up, they'll take your ID card, they'll take your name, and then you stand in the proper line, and then you get your voter's roll. So everyone, if you just watch that one video, you are so much more confident in what happens when you vote, okay? So that when you do go, you're not like, oh, I'm going to make a fool of myself. I don't know what to do. So that was kind of our goal with that.
And then how much easier has it gotten to like vote in the current situation? कि पहिलादेखि नै थियो किनकि a lot of people are like it's so hard म जादिन खालको बसिरहेको छ नि त. So do you think it's gotten more easier?
I mean, I don't know if it's gotten more easier. Like I haven't been involved for that long. I haven't been involved for that long. But what I will say is that it's not nowhere near as difficult as you think it is. Be it to register, be it to go vote, it's nowhere near as difficult as you think it is. And so I think the biggest barrier to people not voting is themselves. Obviously, there are situations where people are restricted and stuff like that. That's a different point, right? But if you want to vote and you can, I think it's like doable to do so. Okay.
Are you rooting for anybody in the scene right now?
I'm not rooting for anybody in particular, but I am rooting for people who see a future in our country that isn't, or to phrase it differently, I'm rooting for change as a whole. So I'm not rooting for a particular person, particular party, but I think we all know everything, like we're tired, case, and we know what we can achieve, and what we're asking for is not too much. So that's what I'm voting for, is just so that everyone has a better life.
I think Balan Shah would be a perfect example, because I don't think he spent a lot in marketing. Like he just rooted for a cause and everybody just followed, right? I think that's like the key thing for a lot of youths.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what I would say is that, again, you don't have to be involved in politics. You don't have to like be Balan Shah and run for mayor. But the least you can do is when people when people do stand up and people do like try to enter politics with a positive future, and like with that in mind, I think the least we can do is vote for them, so that even if they don't win, the next generation of people with like the same dream, they see it's possible, Nita. Like if they get like 0 votes, like no one else is going to stand up again. But if they get like, I don't know, 1,000, and the next year people like those get 2,000, and the next year is 3,000, and like it becomes much more of an achievable dream if we all buy into it.
Yeah. So like last question would be like, can we expect any songs real soon? Like music videos?
Yeah, so I have a music video dropping probably December, and after that, I think next year I'm trying to focus on releasing like as many songs as I can. I don't know if I'll make a music video for all of them, but I'll definitely be dropping new music soon.
So thank you so much, Wangden.
Thank you so much I forgot to mention, my new video is called Kathmandu Cowboy, and it's out December, so make sure to go watch it.
So thank you, Wangden Thai, for
thank you for
actually
having
coming
me.
To the podcast. You changed a lot of opinions that I had, right, about voting, about a lot of music productions and stuff. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for having me, bro.